Peace and blessings, family. This is your boy Gerald. It is Monday, the 11th, December 2017. How is everybody doing? That's right. It's a new week. 7 days of experience, an opportunity to embrace the real you. I hope that you're well. I hope that your weekend was peaceful, able to reconnect with yourself, to slumber, to allow yourself permission to reinvest, as well discover how priceless you truly are. But as the rat race of life has got us going to and from, I know that now that the holidays are amongst us, there are still those who are having this time of year, they're finding difficulties. They're finding what I would call emotional triggers. And they really just want to rush right through this period of time because this is the time that causes you to go back to days of old. This is also the moment where your clarity is right there for you to grasp upon. And then there are those who won't admit this. They are totally ambiguous in how they are going to make it through this season. Let me tell you something. You woke up this morning, right? So everything starts from the moment that you look in that beautiful mirror to that priceless little boy, little girl that lives inside you still. It starts with you. It does not start outside your door because, see, where you lay your head is where you find peace of mind. This is your inner sanctum. So that's where the work should be done. That is where the decision makings should be. You should take hand. Or this is where you really do your work. And guess what? If you allow yourself permission just to stop, to stand in the moment, and allow yourself to reflect, review, not only will you see the things that truly have priority, but you'll also come to understand the things that are nothing but distractions and illusions. Who am I talking to? You know, I happened right before I cut on this camera. I have the TV on. You can't hear it, but it's on. And I saw a commercial for a local, well, it's not local, it's a commercial uh, food chain department, grocery store, right? And I noticed that there was an image of a woman. She's in the living room and she's disconnected to what's going on. And there are children running around, making noise, just really into it. Meanwhile, she's sitting. She has this big glass of wine. And next to her, she has the bottles. But she's disconnected. Meanwhile, all this activity is going on in the midst of her, and she's not aware. And then all of a sudden, bottle in one hand, holds on to the glass on the next, and uses that as a way to gain control of the situation. And I noticed that things that are found on the boob tube, They are subliminal. And I've noticed for the last 2 to almost 3 years, there has been a push, especially for you queens, to embrace that bottle so that that will be your end all be all. So that that is your silent escape. Why? Why is there's so much emphasis to get you to turn up and turn away and not take what's going on, have control of it, and make a decision? Why is that? Now, you know, I like to always reference the reality shows, which is kind of ironic because they are not reality. Yes, they've even gotten to the point of saying, well, you know what? They have scripts. Yes, they have a certain theme. They manipulate the situation so that they can capture the effect. But why is it? If you just stop for a second, put that show of choice on mute, you always see the same theme. Either A, she has no control of her environment. B, she's getting inebriated beyond her capacity. And then C, she is being consumed by what is being offered. Why is that? It's because society doesn't want you to think. It's because society prefers you to have a impulsive position. Why am I saying this, Gerald? Why are you bringing this up? Because you realize how many people right now, let's you know, I can only be one way, and that's truthful. You realize that your beloved credit card companies, they want you to have an impaired viewpoint because they're hoping that you don't pay your bills. Because as long as you don't pay your bills, they make more money because that also gives them more time. Whatever the debt may be, whatever the bill is, they hope that you don't see it through, which causes more or less a linchpin effect. You know what a linchpin is? That's the little component that's on the side of that grenade. And without it, it is not contained. Well, let's look at your finances. If you don't have control of your finances indirectly have control of your life. What's wrong with that picture? Isn't it kind of backwards, don't you think? Now let's look at Christmas. Oh, or how people like to water it down and talk about it, the holiday season. There is only one reason why that exists, and that is to celebrate God. That's why there's Christ in front of Mass. What is Mass? To unify, to come together. For what? One common cause, for God. But you already know that. I don't have to explain that to you. You already know. But yet, we are still running around with our heads cut off. And unfortunately, we are so oblivious to the machine. When I mean by the machine, I'm talking about how you make your money, your time. Your greatest asset is your time. That is why it's so important that you manage it well, because there'll be many people that will come along to try to stray you and keep you at bay. Why? Because they already see the resource you are. They knew that from the first hello. And maybe that is the reason, in turn, they tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to know. Who am I talking to? Why is it that gift giving should not be reflected by truth? Why don't we focus on that? Shouldn't The holiday, which it should have been all along, is a day where all family comes together. But we have gotten so conditioned, the only time that we come together is when we are saying goodbye for the last time. It's kind of sad, don't you think? But I want to throw this out to somebody because I know there's somebody right now, you probably struggling with this. You got a Christmas list longer than your arm, and you have no clue to give them. Now, first of all, whatever you give should be an extension of you. Your greatest gift you will ever bestow to someone you grow. Who am I talking to? But I understand the materialistic world, and for some, that ain't gonna cut it. So I got to thinking, you have an issue on what you want to give Jack? You have a problem of trying to figure out what Sarah wants? You give them what they need. Now, I know some people can just water it down and say, well, hey, I ain't got to shop. I'll give them some money. They can shop for themselves. And you can do that. Or you can do something even better. But even though they won't admit it to you, you know the greatest gift that you can give somebody other than your time? Give them receipts. That's right, receipts. Because guess what? You know that on the 25th day, there's going to be somebody waking up and they're not going to have any electricity on. On the 25th day, there's going to be somebody and there's not going to have any heat on. On the 25th day, there's going to be somebody going to go into their kitchen and there is nothing there to eat. Give them what they need, not what they want. Because the truth of the matter is this, a lot of people will opt to just give, but they give with the agenda. You said, what do you mean by that, Gerald? A lot of you buy gifts just to appease the person that has contact or access to your life. Who am I talking to? I'll explain. Instead of you spending hundreds of dollars on something that will end up in the closet and have dust on it, or worse, something that will only last a season. Some of y'all have even seen this. The gift is given and doesn't even make it to the new year. They have no desire, but they don't understand the sacrifice of you taking your time, navigating through the aisles to find that one gift, only to see the validation of its worth. That's very disheartening. So why don't you flip the script this year? The people that have access to your life, the people that you genuinely care, why don't you just in turn give them a receipt? I know some people, they're going to be like, nah, I ain't going to do that because if I turn around with a receipt, they're going to look at me screw-faced. But then that should tell you right there that they never had your best intentions. They didn't value you. Because guess what's going to happen on the 1st? Some of y'all are already ahead of me. Because on the 1st of January, them bill collectors are going to be, they're going to be blowing up your phone. They're going to be sending emails. And they're going to be trying to distract you from the moment. Why? Because at the end of the day, they don't care. They don't care. They do not care. At the end of the day, your life is connected to a series of numbers, just like your social security number, just like your FICA score. And if you don't do what you need to do, they will gladly get on that console and put some disparaging information, which all will do is add more time to that debt. Who am I talking to? That's why I convey to each and every one of y'all. Take note who's in your life and take note to what they show you. But more or less, be protective to people you communicate, especially now. Because y'all don't even realize that the jig has already been up. The agenda was already put in play 6 months ago, just to wear you down, just for the payoff, the 25th. Oh, don't believe me? I'm pretty sure you've probably heard little hints and little breadcrumbs of what they want. But did you ever consider, did they deserve? What is it about them that earns the right to have access to your monetary gain? Does it mirror you? Or does it distract you from you? So I say this to somebody. If your heart is in the right place, your mind should be as well. Give them what they need, not what they want. Because as long as you don't, the retail establishments will love you. They can't wait. And they hope that you come and spend your hard-earned money. Now, I know somebody's saying, Gerald, you sound like a Grinch. You just taking away from the holiday. No, I'm not trying to convey that. I'm not. What I'm trying to get you to understand is you need to be more aware. Not only, you do understand your finances are a representation of your state of mind as well. No different than a tree with many branches. So guess what? If your emotional state of being is not together, doesn't your finances represent the same? If the value for who you are is not in place, doesn't that also represent the decisions that come from you? Because your decisions are nothing but the effects of choices, not impulsives. So if you want to do something, make sure it comes from the heart. Now, I can tell you right off the bat, because since we do live in a misogynist society, and I keep scratching my head because every day there's also another person getting outed out about bad behavior, but yet, we still, why isn't it not balanced? Why is it not? Now, one female has been called on the carpet for choices made. Why is that? Do you not see the commonality in that? Do you not take note? How is that possible? All these people are men. You telling me that not one woman has made a decision that was not in her best decision? And I'm not talking from the position of the victim, because being a victim is temporary. What is required is you truly take accountability for actions made. Who am I talking to? Because when you look at that and stop playing with that, you'll see something that is very, very crystal clear. You know how you hear people always say, well, that's nothing but the evidence and the example of what generational curses are all about, Gerald. It runs through that family lineage. Look, how is that possible? It's possible because they refuse to acknowledge what is evident, but choose to ransom their self-worth. Who am I talking to? You wasn't brought on this planet to play the martyr, to be the scapegoat, to be the black sheep, or just the slave. Are not positive. They're all negative depictions of emotional state of being. Why? There's no empowerment there. Why? Why is it not? Because it will require you to be truthful to yourself. Remember, you don't need anybody's permission to grow, to change, to go within yourself, to allow that introspection to finally allow that realignment of who you are. You don't need nobody's permission for that. That is a willful choice to go forth. Do I stay or do I go forth? What does that little boy or that little girl inside you tell you? I've always echoed to the intended ear and intended heart. I always say to them, stop looking for your mate. What you should be doing is preparing, because they are going to be your mirror from a spiritual standpoint, a physical standpoint, and an emotional state of being. They are you. They are your extension. So if they're acting out, if they do not see their worth, if they are choosing to ransom their self-esteem, what does that say about you? Now, keep in mind, we do not have the power to make anybody do nothing they don't want to do. Did you hear me? You do not have the power to make anybody do anything they choose to do. You know why? It all goes back to that very first breath you took. Because the two spiritual gifts that God bestowed on you, the number one was unconditional love. I didn't say conceit. I didn't say shallowness. Because choosing to take a position of conceit really is nothing but insecurity in reverse. Who am I talking to? Why is it that you're putting so much effort on the outer, but you leave the inner alone? Why? Because it requires you to be honest to yourself. Maybe that is the reason why so many people look like so many people nowadays, huh? Might as well be made by Mattel. And I don't want to sound condescending, but I gotta admit, if Kim Kardashian had 1 cent for her likeness, she'd be a billionaire. Because every time you turn around, every shade, there's an image of her. There's an image of her. But yet, if you would look at the person in the mirror, you will come to find out you are doing yourself a disservice because you are more beautiful. So who convinced you not to love you? Who convinced you that you are less than? Who said that you got to go beyond the call of duty just to fit in? Who am I talking to? Convinced you that you got to ransom your sexuality just to feel that you are alive. Oh yeah. We've got a PhD in our sexuality, but we are delinquent in our self-worth. What's wrong with that? And we wonder why our money is not together. Meanwhile, they're making money hand over fist off of your insecurity. You refuse to look at what was made perfect. You do understand what you deem as an imperfection is actually what makes you unique. Who am I talking to? You were made beautiful. I kind of say this kind of cavalier, but the greatest gift should ever put under your tree should be you. Because you have a story. And that story must be protected. And not everybody's going to earn the right to know that story. That's why people come into your life for a reason and a season. But if you don't see what matters most, you might as well go ahead and throw your wallet out the window. You might as well put a sign on your head, do as you will, because they're going to try. They're going to try you. They're going to keep trying you until you learn to say this beautiful word called no. Yeah, no. N-O. That sounds so negative. No, it's not. Because the word no doesn't mean forever. It means under review. It's your choice if you choose to receive it. Or you can be honest with yourself and give what you need. Who am I talking to? I know there's somebody right now. What you really want for Christmas, you can't find that in the store. What you really want for Christmas is peace of mind. You want peace and quiet now, don't you? Huh? Yeah, you do. You say, you know what? I just wish I could just go away just for a couple of days and just focus on me. And when you think about it, if you look at the term vacation, why is it we have to go somewhere to find us when you have every opportunity to find you because you wake up? I know it can be frightening at times because at the end of the day, we want to feel emotionally safe. We want to be in the midst of those who will see our value. We want to be able to naturally grow as it's intended. That's for somebody. Now, I'm going to put my 2018 video out real soon. But don't worry about watching it if you're not going to make a commitment to who matters most, and that's you. You'll be surprised if you make this decision to focus on you. Guess what's going to happen? Everything connected to you is going to realign itself, and everything that did not matter is going to fall from you like dandruff off your scalp. Do you want that? Do you really want it? Because there's going to be a trade-off if it is. Now, I know some people, they all in their feelings right now because they know I'm speaking truth. But let me tell you something. When you decide to break those emotional shackles, you'll know what it feels like to be free. That's right, to be free. Because your greatest shackle on your life is found here. And when you finally decide to allow yourself some introspection, your truth will come out. Maybe that's the reason why there's so much rebellion going on nowadays. Maybe that's the reason why communication these days, even though you long for it, you can't find it. Why? Because they don't want you to grow. They like to see you broken. The longer you stay broken, the longer they know that they can manipulate you. And they hoping that you keep that mindset for another 2 more weeks. Because trust and believe, I'm telling somebody, you think right now that you're living a dream because they didn't came back into your life. And you're hoping that this is forever. You're going to see reality when you give them that gift. And just as quick as they came into your life, just as quick as that illusion is going to fade. Don't play yourself. Stay prayed up. Stay grounded. Stay you. Now, before I bring this home, I have to tell this to somebody. Forgiveness is not for them. Forgiveness is for you. If you are waiting for Johnny to pick that phone up and say, hey, I'm sorry for how I treated you, and I've got myself together, you're going to disappoint yourself. Because you gauge someone for their actions, not what they communicate. Time release, just like your blessings. You do understand that, right? Because anybody will give you a show. They'll tell you what you want to hear, not what you need to know, only to leave you more distracted from you. Can't allow that to happen. But this does not give you the right or the authority to act less becoming, to walk around bitter, disheveled, broken. That doesn't give you a right. Because as long as you do that, you are basically saying everything that you've gone through, everything that you've experienced, it was in vain. Did you hear me? Everything you went through was in vain. Why? Because every disappointment is a setup for a breakthrough. There's every disappointment, there is a moment that insight is right in front of you. Choice is, will you receive it? And that's your second gift. Free will, family. So let me throw this out there to somebody. You need to stop listening to the excuses and look at the facts. I know it's going to be hard for somebody because right now you're in a season where your emotions are very, very heightened. You need to look at life from a logical standpoint. In other words, you take that disappointment, yeah, that one, and think in your mind, if you were to write it down as like a transcript, right? Take yourself out of the equation and make that a generic scenario. Would you have the same answer if you just read that down? I doubt it. I doubt it seriously. And that's how you need, and that's the approach you need when it comes to those people that are in your life. You have to vet them out. You know how the government is vetting people who are choosing to come to the United States, dealing with customs and stuff? It's the same thing when it comes to your life. You got to vet these people out. Not everybody that has good intentions. Not everybody. And you know why? Because they already first hello how you stand and what you stand on. They already know that. You know, come on now. You might be that person that you got 1,001 phone calls of, oh man, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Oh man, what's going on? Ask yourself this. What was you doing before you called me? What would you be doing if you did not hear from me? Because if you look at it from that standpoint, you may be noticing that somebody's trying to take you for a ride. Because trust and believe, there's a lot of people playing the violin right now. There's a lot of people hoping that they can wear out your emotions. And so, think about it. Do you realize how many charity commercials are being ran right now? And do you realize how much revenue is being generated? Do you realize a great percentage of that is not going to go to the intended either? And I know that somebody knows what I'm talking about. How is it? And I made a point the other day. Why is it that, like for example, the cancer charity, they've been running that thing for over a decade. You telling me we ain't had no breakthrough yet? MS, all these charities, some been around 30, 40 years. We ain't had no breakthrough yet. I'm just saying. Come on. Ain't that much amount of money in the world that you don't see any evidence of works done. But as long as we keep wanting to give without critically thinking, they're going to be willing to take. Meanwhile, what's going on the West Coast? The fires are still burning. How is that possible? You think people didn't learn from the experiences of those? Of course they did, but yet fires still burning. So I'm gonna bring this home. If you're stuck like a lot of people and you're saying, well, I still hear what you're saying, but I do want to give gifts. Make sure your ego is not in it. Make sure your pride is not pushing that. Because as long if you put your pride and ego first, you're gonna be a broke, you're gonna be a broke person. Because guess what? 1 January, mortgages are due, rent is due, bills gotta be paid. And they don't care if Johnny got his toy. They don't care about that because it's business. Just make sure your business is being handled. God is praying for you. You know I am. I see your worth. And for that, it helps me discern mine. And you know what's sad? I got this feeling. You're gonna go spend, you're gonna go into debt just to make someone feel that you are a certain way. And guess what's gonna happen? They're gonna leave you just as quick as they've met you. Only difference is instead of putting a gun to your head and robbing you, they used your heart. You better love yourself. Be blessed.